Good morning. My name is Ralph Wilson. Before I begin, I want to say that this video is in no way, shape, form, or fashion meant to be a shot at the mother of my child, disrespectful, degrade her in any way. What this video will do is shine some light on the Bibb County, Alabama court system, the very system that claims to do things for the betterment and the support of the children. 5 years ago, I had a son born. His name is Javion Keontae Cole. I love my son. He's the motivation behind everything that I do, including this video. An injustice was done. When my son was 2 years old, the mother of my child decided to place me on child support. For whatever reason. The child support was not an issue. I'm going to take care of my child, support my child without the courts getting involved. But since she wanted to involve the courts, we can do that. That can work however you want to do it. Now, here was how this started. I wasn't informed about this child support thing, not through conventional means. There was no letter sent in the mail, no summons sent to me. Instead, there was a sheriff sent to my front door. I was out of town. My wife went to the door, and not only is it embarrassing, but it also makes it seem as if I don't take care of my child and that they've had to hunt me down. So I immediately turned around. I was in an 18-wheeler, and I drove that 18-wheeler down to the DHR office in Bibb County. Whole truck, tractor, trailer, all 53 feet. And I went to that office, and I talked to the lady. I said, what is the purpose? What do you mean by sending the sheriffs to my front door? Of course, the lady that was in there had no idea what I was talking about, so she sent me to the courthouse. And yes, I took the truck and the trailer, and I went to the courthouse. And I parked that tractor trailer in the middle of the street, and I went inside, where I encountered all of the DHR caseworkers. And I explained to them that I'm a good father. I have taken care of my child from day one, moment one, second one, millisecond one. I was there. You have no reason to send a sheriff to my front door. You send me a letter, you give me a phone call, guess what? I'm going to show up. Just like I'm showing up now, well before this court date is supposed to take place, to let you guys know that one, I'm not a pushover, and two, I'm not going to be bullied and or intimidated. And I also informed that judge that he will be seeing me again. Of course, I get back home and I talk to my wife, and we hire ourselves an attorney, and we begin to prepare for this court date. On the court date that was set by the judge, William Owings, the attorney that was provided to the mother of my child informed the attorney that I had to go out here and pay for that he was not going to show up in court. The court hearing was going to be continued, basically saying that he had to go on vacation or family emergency or had to comb his hair. Who knows? Anyhow, of course, we don't go to court on this day. While I'm sitting at home, I get a phone call as I'm sitting in the bathtub. And it's the grandmother of my child. She's asking me what my location is, and I tell her, I'm at home. What's up? To which she responds, well, you were supposed to be in court. I said, no, her lawyer told my lawyer that they weren't going to show up, and there wasn't going to be a hearing, and it was going to get rescheduled, and whatever have you. Apparently that wasn't the case. Her lawyer lied. The system lied. Because the system gave her this lawyer. The system provided this lawyer to the mother of my child. Now, I didn't go to court. I didn't testify. And there's no DNA test. No court-ordered DNA test. The only DNA test that was done was the DNA test I paid for. Went right up to CVS, bought the DNA test. Went to the house, did the DNA test, waited for the results. Javion is mine. There was never a denial that he is mine. But the courts can't do that. This is the court order here. As you can see, it says defendant failed to appear. Warrant is issued with cash bond of $4,000. Further, the defendant, Ralph Wilson, is hereby adjudicated to be the father of Javion Keontae Cole, born May 27, 2010, based on testimony of the mother. Do you know what that means? That means that she could have said any man's name at that time. Any man's name. She could have said your name. And guess what? You would have been adjudicated to be the father of that child. I wasn't in court. I didn't testify. And I didn't get a DNA test. But I was adjudicated to be the father of the child. And a warrant was placed out for my arrest for failure to appear. Child support was ordered in the amount of $272. Back child support was ordered in the amount of $6,528. I wasn't in court. I didn't get a DNA test. And I definitely did not get to testify on my own behalf. My lawyer didn't even get a chance to speak on my behalf. You still think the child support people are out to help you? They're not out to help you. Of course, I had an attorney, and my attorney filed the motion, immediately responding to the allegations. The warrant was recalled, and I will lay this out in detail, sheet by sheet, so you can read it for yourself. The warrant was recalled. We go back to court the proper way, and I'm given joint custody of my son, visitation every weekend. But here's the kicker. My child support jumps from $272 to $400. How does that work? According to the child support guidelines, my child support was supposed to be $272. You see, at the time I was only making $8 an hour. Yet my child support jumps to $400. Of course, I raised Cain about this. And the child support enforcement people say, hey, well, there's nothing we can do. You know, fill out the child support modification form and go from there. Blah, 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 blah. So, time went by. And as my wife and I struggled to pay this $400, and it got to the point where, you know, it's either we pay this child support or pay this child support and go hungry, or we eat and we don't pay the child support and let the chips fall where they may. This is two years into it, and we're struggling, and life is sucks, for lack of a better term, financially, but we're strong people, so we continue to enjoy our lives and do the things that we want to do. We got married, even with this mountain trying to hold us back. Now, we'll fast forward and get to where now things are starting to get done. Because guess what? I've stopped paying that child support. So now they want me. They want that money. They began by sending this contempt petition for non-payment of support. This was sent on the 14th of August, 2014. Okay? Remember this form. We're going to come back to this form. Now, once I go down to the courthouse for this contempt petition, and we're sitting down and I'm talking to the lady, and I say, hey, I've told you guys on more than one occasion that I cannot afford to pay the $400 a month in child support. As a matter of fact, the last time I came to you and I told you that I couldn't pay the $400 a month in child support, you told me that you can force me to find a job that can pay that money, that can afford to pay that money, or you can throw me in jail. That's what they told me. So, of course, at that moment, being ignorant to what I know now, I threw my hands up and said, okay, don't throw me in jail. Don't throw me. Don't let me. I don't want to go to jail. I'll go out here and I'll try to find that job. Wasn't that easy. And I don't care how much money you make, $400 a month hurts your income. Hell, that's more than some people's rent. Was she working? Yeah, she had a job. She also had 2 other kids. When I did get to see my son, I would still take him, buy him the things that he needed and whatnot. But that's a story for a different time. We're talking about the child support people. Now, this last go around that we had with them, as I got down there and I sat at the table and I said, ma'am, I told you in the beginning that I cannot pay $400 a month in child support. Told you in the beginning that goes against the guidelines and I just can't afford to do it. And I'm not going to try to bust my ass to pay child support and not live my life. That's not going to happen. On top of the fact that you guys aren't enforcing the fact that I'm supposed to visit my son every weekend and I've got joint custody. And hell, I can't tell you the name of the school he goes to, the teacher he has, or a single classmate at the time. I can't pick my son up from school, can't pick him up from daycare, can't find the mom when it's time for me to pick him up. I have to go to the police department. I got to file this report and this report and this report and this report and do everything that I'm supposed to do, pay out all this money for these lawyers and pay out all this money in gas to go back and forth to try to find my son. I have to find him in order for me to see him. Yet you want me to pay $400 a month in child support. Not going to happen. She said, well, Mr. Wilson, you didn't fill out the child support modification form. What do you mean I didn't fill out the child support modification form? Well, you didn't fill out the child support modification form. You got to fill this form out in order for us to review your child support order, in order for us to do this. We only do this twice a year, blah, 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 blah. I said, well, I did fill out a child support modification form. She said, Mr. Wilson, you didn't fill one out. We don't have one on file. If you would like to fill out a child support modification order, then I can get you one. You can fill it out right here, and then we'll put it into the docket. Lo and behold, here comes the court clerk. The court clerk walks up to the table, and as I like to say, the Lord, God, will make your enemy bring you your glass of water when you're thirsty. Not only did that court clerk bring one modification petition for support dated on July 7th of 2012, but she brought 2 modification petition for child support, 3 modification petition for child support, 3 forms that this caseworker just sat there and said I did not fill out. 3. So now I'm pissed. And I looked at her and I said, tell me again why I didn't fill out these child support modification forms when you got 3 of them right here. Of course, she stammered and stuttered and did her backpedal dance and said, oh, well, I don't have, and well, we didn't see, and well, we didn't. And then she finally comes up and says, oh, okay, well, Mr. Wilson, well, this is what happened. You didn't have the right address on there. I said, no, back up. The question that I want to answer is I want to hear you tell me how I didn't fill out these child support modification forms. You said I didn't fill them out. You didn't say anything about an address. You didn't say anything about dogs, cats, donkeys. You said I did not fill out this child support modification form. That's what you said. I didn't fill these out. Yet you've got 3 of them. I didn't take a DNA test or get a chance to testify on my own behalf, but you adjudicated me the father. It's a railroad job. I'm adjudicated to be the father and a warrant issued for my arrest based on the testimony of her. And I didn't fill out these forms that I have in my hand. Did I do it in another world and they just jumped across the atmosphere and now suddenly they're here? Did I pull these out of a dream? She says, Mr. Wilson, well, you have a bad address on there and that's why the court notice was returned. As you can see, down here it says, court returned, bad address, 6703 Whitetail Drive. This is their handwriting. This is the reasoning they put on that. But if you look right here, oh, how bad does that hurt, Bibb County? How bad does that look for you when you say you didn't send this to me and didn't make any moves on it because there was a bad address, so you couldn't get in contact with me to give me the order or whatnot? But you see, you still think they're out to help you? They're not out to help you, people. Here's another one. They say it was returned. Now we moved. Gave them the new address. Again, they say this was a bad address. Bad address. Return mail. Bad address. Okay? I want you to pay attention to this, because here's where it's going to get that gotcha moment. They say this modification petition for support was a bad address, and the date is January 11th, 2013. This contempt petition is also dated January 11th, 2013, to whereas this one has the bad address, but this one here, no returned mail served there. Same day, one form of paperwork on her behalf served in my hand. One form of paperwork on my behalf. They say they couldn't find me. Same day. Same office. You still think they're out to help you? You still think the child support system is the way to go? Smarten up. Smarten up. Smarten up, folks. Even Jefferson County wouldn't touch this case. Shout out to Mike Hale. Even he wouldn't touch it, because he saw the bullshit that was coming. Excuse my language. Now, I can sit here today, and I can look you in the face, and I can say I beat the child support people. I got my child support reduced. The chains have been broken, and the dog collar has been snatched off. Yesterday was the first day that I walked out of Bibb County without a return date to come back to court. We went on the defensive, and we handled business, and we won, and that feels good. But see, I made a promise. I told the DHR caseworkers down there, I said, I'm going to fight you. And when I get done fighting you, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to fight you some more. Because I'm not going to stand here and just let you guys vilify me, try to steal my livelihood, and set every trap and pitfall and hole and dark corner that you can try to get me to fall into that trap, the way you have done a lot of our young men and our older men who are sitting in prison right now behind some of the actions of the Department of Human Resources, not just here in the state of Alabama, not just in Bibb County, but Bibb County is going to carry the weight, but all over this country. The child support system is corrupt, and it is not here to help you. They could care less about your child than you care about a dead fly. They want the money. They want the frustration. And as long as they can sow a divide between the mother and the father of a child, guess what? That child will never be able to identify himself. And that is why we have so much trouble in our society today. The father has been removed. The mother has been removed. There is a system raising our children. You want to know why these young men are walking out here in dresses and skirts? There's no father in the home. If you think that it's a game and you think that it's just, oh, this is just how time works. No. This is a system put in place to destroy the family. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, it's just the blacks. Oh, it's just the whites. What a lot of you guys don't realize, because the media won't put it out, is there are just as many black men dealing with child support as there are white men dealing with child support as there are Mexicans, Asians. There's an entire army of men out here fighting to be a father, while you have your Maury Povich and your different television shows that are just making these babies and these men and these women out to be clowns. Since when did the family become entertainment? Since when did someone being a father become entertainment? Since when did a child's future become just entertainment? When did we stop caring? It's time we start caring again. It's time to stand up and stop allowing these injustices to take place. This is my last order. My child support was reduced to the proper amounts, but they still say that I owe $7,341 in back child support. $565 in interest. So even though they've made the mistake, they still expect me to pay for it. I guess they haven't learned that I'm not going to pay for their mistakes. If you've watched this video, I'm asking you to share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Share it. Share it with the young men that you know that are going through this situation. Share it with the young women that you know that are getting ready to place some young man on child support. I tell you right now, I wouldn't wish child support on my worst enemy. While child support, if it is used the way it's supposed to be used, can be a good thing, because it keeps a record and it keeps a documentation on these children and the things that are going forth, and it allows them to see and kind of look in and make sure these children are okay, but they're not using it for that. They're using it as a tool to destroy the families. And as long as we allow that to happen, our society will never recover. Barack Obama, our president, well, I'm not a fan of his, but before he got into office, I spoke with a friend of mine, and I asked that friend of mine, I said, hey, why don't you tell President Obama to start speaking out for some fathers? You know, he speaks out for everything else. I have yet to hear my president get up on a platform and say anything about the fathers' rights movement. He touts, oh, I have my 2 daughters and I have, okay, Barack, do something for the fathers. You were raised without one. Do something for the fathers. Do something for these men. But why is it that the deadbeats get all the light, all the shine, the television time, the television shows, cops, billboards, newsletters? All this goes on for the deadbeat dads. But then when you have the real fathers who are actually here and standing up and having to fight to be a father, we get pushed into the dark, dark corners, and we get lumped in with the rest of these clowns that are out here not taking care of these babies that they've made. Or we get lumped into the dark, dark corners while you guys give light to these trifling women who go out here and sleep with anything and everything and everybody and get pregnant and then want society to pay for it. Let this be a cautionary tale to you. I know I've learned my lesson. Don't be sleeping with everybody. Use a condom. But that should have no effect on how my child is treated. Using my child as a pawn. Using my child as a weapon of destruction. To divide. My son won't be used in that way by me, by his mother, and it definitely won't happen by the DHR system in Bibb County, Alabama, presided over by Judge William Owings. For the first time in 5 years, I left off from Bibb County without a return date. I left off from Bibb County without any sort of notice saying, you got to be back down here at such and such time. You got to be back down here at such and such time. None of that. It feels good. It feels very good. And as day one is on us, and we get ready to we begin our new journey of freedom. I'm going to take this fight right to DC, right to Montgomery, right to the media. And before you know it, I will be standing in Bibb County watching as they try to explain my case and how they've come to the conclusions and done the things and why they did the things that they did. Bibb County, you got with the right one this time. So I'm no coward. I'm very outspoken. And when I speak, people will listen. And you will come down. My name is Ralph Wilson. And I am a victim of the child support system. An injustice was done. And I demand justice. I demand that those people be held accountable for the things that they did, the actions that they took. They have violated my civil rights and my basic rights as a human being and as a father. I pray that you watch this message in its entirety. And I pray that you share this video with as many people as you can share it with. And I pray that other men come out and start making these videos. Because the more of us that speak, live and in living color, the more pressure will be mounted. And don't be afraid to call these judges out. Call him out. Judge William Owings. Name the county seat, Bibb County. And the Department of Human Resources. I would name my caseworker, but she will be named at a later date. I hope you guys continue to follow this and the developments, I will continue to keep you updated. I do have a lot of things working. I've made a lot of connections over these last few years with a lot of advocates and a lot of attorneys from different states and different counties. I've made some connections with the media. Bibb County may think that I'm just joking or just talking, but they will soon find out. When the lights hit and the lights come on and the cameras are in your face and you're having to explain this paperwork. You see, the paperwork is what matters. Anybody can say anything. It's the paperwork. That's what matters. Because that's the proof. And it all starts at the very beginning with one question that I guarantee you they can't answer. How did you adjudicate me to be the father? Put me on child support based on her testimony alone. And if she hadn't said my name, would you have done this very same thing to another man? The answer to that question is yes. Because based on her testimony is how you got your court order. Judge Owens, I got you. Have a good day.